Good morning, everyone. It's a bright sunny day. It's a Friday. Welcome to Science 2C00, Skills for Career Success in Science. Sometimes you'll hear me refer to it as 2CU, so 2C00. So 2CU is just shorter, so that's what we call it sometimes. Anyway, welcome to class. Let's get started. We've still got a lot more people coming in. So I just wanted to introduce myself to you. I'm Catherine Stewart, and I'm a career development and relationship manager in the Science, Career, and Co-op Education Office. Okay, so I will be your instructor, good or bad, for the next 8 weeks. I also wanted to introduce you to our career assistant, Laura Howard. Laura's doing a program at Conestoga, and she came on board with us last fall, along with another student from Conestoga, and has been an immense help with our programming in the Science, Career, and Co-op Education Office. Laura will be the person you will see directly to do your resume reviews for this course. So you will all have an opportunity to meet with her. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself and my background to try to give you some sense of my credibility for being in this position. But I think I'm going to hold on to that thought for a little later on in the class when it takes a bit more of a relevant context. So I just want to start with that fact that there is a huge misconception about the SCCE office. And if there's one thing that you can take away from all of our time together, it is that we are not just the co-op office, okay? Lots of people say we're the co-op office. Yes, we do oversee the co-op in the Faculty of Science at McMaster. That is absolutely true, but that is one very small microcosm of what we do, okay? So we have people like me and Laura and my colleague Amr, for instance, who are there just for career aspects. And we're there for all of the science students in the Faculty of Science. So please do find out what we do, see if it might be helpful to you, and check in with us. You can meet us through appointments. You can meet us through daily drop-in. Hopefully in February, we'll be back in the office. We will have a skeleton staff next week, starting next week in the office as well, but we will continue to offer online appointments and drop-in as well. So just remember that. Check in with us. See what we might be able to do to help you with interviews, with interview prep, with job searching, with talking to professors. There's all kinds, again, your documents, your CV, your resume, cover letters, letters of intent when you're getting ready for graduate studies and you'd like some help with that. We can do all of those things. So let us get on with our day. And I'd like to know how you are doing today. So I'm going to just say I'm having a really crappy day. My day started off with finding out that I'm losing my closest colleague, and many of you may have met Jared. And so our loss is the Student Success Center's gain, because Jared is moving across campus to work with Student Success Center. So I'm feeling a little sad, and I have to admit, I actually teared up in my morning meeting. So I will try to hold it together now. So how are you feeling? Are you feeling happy to be here, tired, need coffee, excited for a new semester? Tell me how things are going in your world. So we've got excited, feeling good, happy, excited but tired, stressed out. Oh, I'm sorry you're stressed out so quickly in the semester. Happy. Lots of happy people. Well, I'm thrilled to know that you're happy, and I hope you're happy at the end of our time together. Sleepy but excited, could be better. Tired. I think many of us are used to sleeping in. Yes, I hear you on that, Adrian. Decent, excited with this class. Okay, good. Lagging, still on winter break mode. You know what? I think I am too, but now I've snapped to attention knowing that I'm losing one of my colleagues, and now there's a lot more work for me to do too, which is fine. We wish Jared well, absolutely. So thanks for joining us. We intended that this was all going to be in person. And I'm very sad that we're not in person. I miss being around students. I miss the energy that you add to my life and to my world. So let's just think about 2COO for a minute. Actually, let me just go back. So what I want to say about this course is that it is not a makeover workshop. What we're going to talk about in the next 8 weeks are probably all things that you've had some advice on, maybe even taking a course in high school. And yet I'm going to invite you to think of this from a different perspective. You're now fully fledged adults, and you're going to be going into the professional world very soon. So we would like to give you some skills, some things to think about, some best practices to take into that adult professional world. As I said, this is not a makeover workshop. You will have heard many of these things before. And yet, I would encourage you to view this from a bit of a different perspective. Listen for something maybe you haven't thought of or heard of before, and take those few little pearls and nuggets that are introduced to you over this time, and hopefully this will all advance your confidence in your own professional capacity. That's what we want. We want to enhance your confidence in feeling that you're ready to hit the work world, or ready to hit graduate school or professional studies. And you've got our attention for this 8 weeks. You've got my attention, you've got Laura's attention, and we're here to help. So use us. Think of us as part of your network. Ask your questions. You have our undivided attention through this class. So please do check in with us anytime. All right, I would like to know why you are here. And I'm going to switch to a Menti poll here. And let me just go to my chat. I'm going to put the link in here. So if you go to menti.com, and the link is there for you, I'm just curious, what led you to sign up for Tuku? Oh, sorry, it says voting is closed. There we go. Okay, there we go. I always forget to select something. Story of my life. Okay, lots of you are saying co-op, and that's to be expected. Many students are taking this course because they either probably have applied for co-op already now because the deadline has passed. But this course is also required for experiential education courses like applied placements or internships. And I'm also, and that's fine. I mean, take the course for whatever reason is right for you. I'm also hoping that this will be meaningful content for all of you in some way, shape, or form to help you in your professional journey. So it looks like most of you are applying to co-op as expected. So I'm just going to go to the next Menti poll now. And what do you hope to take away from Tuku? Like, when you thought about this course, were you thinking? Fill in the blank. I really want to learn more about blank. This is just open text. Tell me whatever. I just want to make sure we're on the same page here. Are you hoping to learn the same things that we're going to have for you here? How to become a better asset in the professional world. Oh, I love that one. a functioning adult in the professional world. Opportunities out there, what opportunities are out there for science students, build a better resume, interview skills, improve my chances of getting a job, to improve professional skills, improve application materials, better cover letter, better prepared for the workforce. I want a job. Yes. I'm hoping to learn skills to help getting a job, learn more about co-op and build a better resume. Learn what employers are looking for happiness. I love that one. Well, I'm hoping that I can add a little tiny bit of happiness to your day. No guarantees, but I hope that. So it sounds very much like we are on the same page here, because pretty much all of the things that you've mentioned are really specific to the content of this course. So I think for the most part, you're going to learn what you think you're going to learn here. Now, for more specific conversations like, what do I do when I'm finished McMaster? How do I do jobs? Like maybe not so much that, but for more general questions, it's really good if you can, and questions that are more specific to you only, please make an appointment with us. We can talk about all of these things. So we have covered that. Let us get to our objectives. So these are the objectives. They are on Avenue. They're in your syllabus. I'm not going to read these out loud, but basically through all of this and through the exercises that we have built into this course, I want you to be better prepared, or at least feel more confident about your preparedness for facing your next steps, whatever those next steps may be. Some of you may be going into the working world. Some of you may be going to graduate studies or professional school. Some of you may be just wanting to travel the world and take a break from it all. Whatever your next steps are, we would like to help prepare you to get there. So let's do some housekeeping. The course length is 8 weeks. In fact, it's 9 weeks because there's a reading week break in there. As you can tell, we're all online. I hope our plan is that February 7th, that week, we will be back in person again, and we will be in BSB 119. It's right across the hall from my office. Perfect location for me. So I'm really hoping to be able to see all of your bright and sunny faces very soon. The course syllabus is on Avenue to Learn, as are all the other materials. The courseware is free for you through the link that is provided. And what are the course expectations? There are certain expectations that are required for you to get a COM grade. This is a COM or fail. And in spite of our best efforts every semester, some students do fail. And we're trying to preclude that through adding an extra session on, which is today. Some of you may have seen the a little alert for that when we first started class. But the expectations are to attend class, complete 3 assignments, and if you do all of those things, you will get a complete grade. So let me just say, in terms of, let me go back for a second. In terms of the expectations, you need to, for attendance, you need to attend 5 out of 8 classes over the course of the semester. Of course, 8 out of 8 is way better, but the minimum is 5 out of 8. And we will know that you attended these classes, not just through Zoom, but every class we will do a 1-question quiz. We will tell you when the quiz is happening. We will give you the answer to the quiz, okay? It's that simple. It's only for attendance. And basically what we will ask you to do at that time is to go to Avenue, you open up the quiz, and you will be able to do that. You can only do the quiz in this 1 hour together, okay? Can't be done outside of that. If by chance you answer the wrong answer, or you somehow forget or couldn't get into Avenue in that time, just let us know. Let me know. Send me an email. Say, Catherine, here's the quiz answer. Oh yeah, and remind me. I didn't mention this, so I introduced myself, but I also wanted to say to you, please call me Catherine. If you're comfortable with that, that's my preference. So anyway, let's move into just a little, we're going to do a very quick review of the assignments, because this afternoon in our session, we will do a longer review for those of you who feel you need a little more input and an opportunity to ask questions outside of the class. So we're first going to ask you to review the guidelines and best practices and create your resume. We're then going to ask you to book, and this is on Oscar Plus. On Oscar Plus, you will go to Science, and then you're going to say book a career appointment, and it will be 2-coup resume review. That's the only resume review you want to take, because that's the only one that will lead you to Laura, okay? And Laura will meet with you all individually, give you feedback, and then the expectation is you will apply her feedback, and then by the deadline, which is March 31st, you will upload both of your documents, your final and your draft, to Avenue. Okay, that's assignment number 1. Assignment number 2 is to create a LinkedIn profile. Create your profile. You're going to connect to the SCCE LinkedIn account, and you're going to complete the checklist. So one thing that, and I'll just mention as an aside, it is in the instructions, because there are deeper instructions on Avenue for these assignments. Just note that if you use a different name, either on your resume or on your LinkedIn profile, make sure we know that, because we can only match you up to what's on Avenue. So if you use a different name, and that's totally okay, that's up to you, just let us know what it is so we can find you. And just note that these first 2 assignments, and in fact, the third assignment too, these are things that you need to do anyway. It doesn't matter what your next steps are professionally. You're going to need to do this. You're going to need a resume for many, many purposes. So why not build it now, get feedback, and get as solid a document in place as you can, all right? So, and being on LinkedIn is a choice. We will talk about social media later in the semester, and choosing what social media platforms work best for you. But LinkedIn still is the most common professional social media network available. And I do find it actually is quite helpful. And your third assignment is to do reflective exercises. There are 8 in all, 1 for each class. So after each class, you're going to go to the document, and you probably want to download the document because it's a fillable one. And you're going to answer some questions every week. These are just for you. Yes, you submit them to us so that we can make sure you're on the right track. But these are the things that we want you to start thinking about as you're developing your professional self. So the first one starts with, select a career that you think might suit you or that you might enjoy in your future. It can be a lofty goal, or maybe it's just something simple, right, that you want to start with. So, but whatever profession or job that you use in your first reflection, all your questions are going to build on that job, okay? So choose it wisely. Choose something that really is of interest to you, because all of the subsequent questions and the exploration and the market research are all going to be around the lesson for that week. So Isha, I'm not sure if I had that right. Yes, the deadlines are due the week after. So this time next week, you will have already submitted reflection 1, okay? They are due at the beginning of the class. So if you hadn't submitted your reflection at this point in time, it's overdue. We've changed it from 2 weeks to 1 week because there just seems to be, that lag time doesn't seem to be necessary from my perspective. These reflections should take you maximum 15 minutes, maximum. Okay. If you spend more than 15 minutes of this, just stop. Okay. Invest enough time to sort of critically evaluate the question and put a bit of thought and reflective practice into the answers, but they should only take you 15 minutes. There is no right or wrong answer. Okay. This is about you thinking about you and where you're heading in your future. So, okay. So I will leave that at, I mentioned before, this afternoon at 2:30, we've got our FAQ Friday session we're going to do just on the expectations of the Science 2 COO for you. Because every semester we end up reminding and re-reminding and chasing students. And yes, we reduce the number of Fs, but we still always end up with some. And I really don't understand this at all. So Laura had this great idea. Why don't we do a separate session where students can come, be informal, ask questions, make sure you get everything you need. And this is for any of the students in Tuku. And I would say it's especially important for those of you for whom English is not your first language, because maybe you're feeling a little timid about this. And I know you don't have, if we were sitting in class and you didn't get what I just said, you'd probably say to your classmate, hey, what did she say? Or I didn't get that. And so you'd find out right away. So I'm thinking there may be some miscommunication because we are not together. So please do let us know, join us if you can this afternoon. You do need to register on Oscar Plus, but we're going to cover everything in a little bit more detail. All righty, let's get to the content. First impressions. First impressions are funny things, right? You've probably already made your mind up about me and what you think about me, and you're either thinking you're going to dread being here every week, or you're going to thinking, maybe this isn't so bad. So we all make first impressions professionally, personally. Some are going to be great and some are going to be not so great. Okay. It depends on so many factors, how we're feeling that day, the context, the situation. We're not always at our best. Okay. But it is a good time to start thinking about making first impressions as a future professional. So what we're going to do is, normally we get up in the class, walk around and talk to each other, which is preferable from my perspective. But instead, we're going to just jump into some small groups. And in the next 5 minutes, I want you in your small group to share your first name, your program master, one fact about yourself, and collectively and collaboratively decide whose birthday comes next in the year. Okay, so questions about what we're going to do in our small groups. Questions about small groups. Oh yeah, I forgot. I can't do groups unless I stop where we are. Okay, so I'm going to create 12 groups, I think. And maybe I'll create 14, because then there'll be 5 or 6 people in each group. Okay, so name, program McMaster, one thing about yourself, doesn't matter what it is, and decide whose birthday comes next in the year. Okay, so I'm going to create the rooms and off you go. So I think most everybody is back. I think there are a few groups who are still in the room for another half minute or so. So they must be hopefully having a lovely chat. So tell me, are are we supposed to have our cameras off? Oh, no, Isha, no, I love seeing your face. Thank you. Thank you for asking that. No, I mean, it's entirely up to you. I want to give students, it's so much nicer if I can see people out there, right? I know I'm not by myself, so entirely your call. Thank you for asking that. Okay, so in your group, I mentioned that you should choose the person whose birthday is next. And the reason I asked you to do that is to give you a chance to, so that person whose birthday is next is now designated arbitrarily by me as the spokesperson for your group. So spokespeople for the different groups. Tell me what your thoughts are. How did that experience feel? Just being dumped in a room with people you don't know. Anything stand out for you? Did you meet somebody interesting? Somebody tell you something that you didn't know? You can unmute yourself. You can put up your hand. Actually, putting up your hand is good. And because that way you move to the top of my screen if you put up your hand. You can answer in the chat as well, whatever feels best for you. Okay, Mackenzie wants to offer some wisdom from her group. So
it's not really wisdom. Oh, sorry.
That's okay, sorry. Whatever you'd like to share.
It was like a little awkward at first, but everyone kind of, since we had like a common goal, it was pretty easy to figure out what we had to do because everyone just shared their name. Then we quickly figured out whose birthday was coming next.
Yeah. And I love that you said a common goal. So that makes a conversation easier when you've already planned what you need to say and you know what you need to say. It becomes more of a high risk adventure or conversation when you don't have a script, right? So I'm glad that you mentioned that, Mackenzie. So Grace, what happened in your group?
So our group started talking right away, which I liked. I don't really mind breakout rooms because I'm a big talker. I like chatting with people. I like meeting people. But then after we kind of ran out of things to say, and we're kind of sitting there, which is okay. I think that happens with everybody. And yeah, I don't know. I liked meeting people.
Yeah, thank you, Grace. Yeah, Farhan.
Yeah, I agree with Grace. Most of the times when I join breakout rooms, it's usually silent, but in my group, everyone starts talking right away. We finished the questions rather quick, but I think most of us were in science programs or lifestyle programs, so we were able to connect that way and talk about other topics until the rooms closed.
Yeah, nice. Thanks, Farhan. You never know when a conversation is going to lead you somewhere. You find a commonality, you hear something and you say, hey, I know something about that. I might be able to help. So that's why connections are so important. Hiral, I'm sorry if that's wrong. Hiral.
No, that's right.
Okay,
you got it.
right. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with Farhan and Grace. It was like quiet at first, but then we had like a common goal, so we started working towards that. And then we finished answering like the questions really quickly, but it got quiet after I think two people realized they were in the same program. So like, they I guess kind of found that like in common. And yeah, like it wasn't bad. Everyone was really nice. Everyone was really just excited to be there. So it was great.
Very good. Very good. Thanks for sharing. Absolutely. Anna.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Just like everyone else, it was a little bit awkward. And at least for me, I like it's a little bit harder because we're not in person. So I didn't know if like people were just shy or they just didn't want to talk. So like we all answered our questions, but we didn't really have much to talk about after.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right. So I gave you too much time. I just thought you'd all be curious about each other. And because I know when we do this live in our classroom, I can't get people to stop talking. It's like, okay, everybody, it takes 5 minutes to get everybody calmed down again. So you can see that doing it in person is so much more energizing and energetic. And I think it gives a chance for people to, really stand out for you. Anushka.
Hi. Also, just to like sort of piggyback off of what you were just saying about it being more energizing in person, I think the fact that none of us are like awkwardly staring at each other's faces with like all our cameras off really takes away from that obligation to be saying something all the time.
Okay.
So I think that's part of why. But yeah, so for us too, it was kind of silent initially, and then people just started saying things. And a fun thing was that none of us were actually in the same program. We had one
cool.
person from different programs. It was cool.
Very good.
And then everyone introduced themselves, and then nobody really wanted to sort of take the lead. So we all just kind of sat there for a couple seconds. And then when the sort of notification for like 60 seconds left showed up, we just very quickly started trying to figure out whose birthday was next.
Oh,
But
okay.
yeah, I thought it was but I thought it was really
Yeah,
cool how
yeah.
literally every single person was in a different program. So that was fun.
Yeah. And knowing who's going to take the lead is sometimes a delicate dance. Like, I don't want to be pushy. I don't want to say, I don't want to leap in there. And then sometimes there are the people who just do that. And then other people resent them. You know, there are a lot of dynamics happening in that very small group. So Sarah, what happened in your group?
So we started talking right away as well. And then after everyone introduced themselves, we actually started having a conversation about like in-person classes and how we felt about like maybe we're going to go back, maybe we're not. And then actually like by the time the breakout room was closing, two people were still talking. So like it was actually like we could have had more time to talk, which was interesting because I always breakout rooms are a bit scary because you never know what to expect.
I know.
But I was pretty happy with the breakout room I was in.
Good. Yeah. It's again, it's a negotiation. I'm sorry, I should have mentioned that I would like you to turn on your cameras when you went in your rooms. Sorry, I should have mentioned that. I just thought you would. Ying Chen.
Hi, Catherine. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I think the chat was interesting because I found that I know someone is in the same program as I am, so which is very happy.
Very good. Very good. And thank you for sharing. And Chelsea. Are you there, Chelsea?
Oh, I see Chelsea shared in the chat.
Oh, did she? Oh, I'm so sorry. All right. A bit awkward in the beginning. Thanks, Laura. But when someone started, it went really smoothly. We finished up really quickly. Some small talk. Yeah, everyone seems super nice. Oh, you can't unmute. All right. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for sharing. You know, I know it's a bit, it feels like a bit of a risk to stand out, but you know what? Standing out in a small way is an okay thing to do, right? You know, and the thing is that the more you practice these types of things, the better you'll get at it, or the more comfortable or confident you will feel. You know, talking to strangers is not easy for everyone. You know, some people do it very naturally and others are, you know, a little slower to join. And I'm that person. So, you know, I hope that as we go through the exercises of this course, that you'll really invest some time and energy and get the most out of it and in this way and be interactive, because I think that's more engaging and exciting for you too if you get to share things with us. Okay, so let's go back to our slide deck. Okay, so we've done that. So, okay, so this is one of the key messages of this Science 2CO. Now we're into content. All right, we've got 15 minutes left and we're actually into the content of the course. So there is you. There's what the market wants. Okay, and by market, I mean an employer. It could be professional school or a graduate school. It could be anything. So market, think of market as a general term. It's an opportunity that you want. If you want that opportunity, you have to make sure that you fit that opportunity and you make yourself look like the requirements or the qualifications for that opportunity. Okay. So this is your very first 2Ku quiz question this week. And the answer is, it's what is the most important takeaway from this course? It's developing skills that match what the employer needs. That is the answer. So if you go to Avenue, you will see there's a quiz available to you. Make sure you answer it before the end of the class. So that really is the most important takeaway here. It's all about reflecting on who you are, what you do, what are your skill sets, and how do you make them adapt to a particular opportunity that may appeal to you. So let's have a look at career assessment. So career assessment is cyclical in many, many ways. So for those of you who are a bit self-reflective, and I am now, but I tell you, I was not at your age. So I wish I had been. But self-assessment is all about looking at interests, personality, looking at your skills, your strengths, the type of lifestyle that you want, and your values, okay? All of those are a big package that is you. So once you have a good sense of who you are as a professional, you want to explore options. So maybe you get a job, maybe you join co-op, maybe you join a club or you volunteer, maybe you attend conferences. Those are all ways to explore different options. And then once you've explored your options, you say, hey, I want to do that. I make a decision. So you take action, you apply to go to McMaster, and here you are. And then, so now you're 2 years into McMaster, or a year and a half, you're going to evaluate your decision. Was this the right course for me? Was this the right program? Was this the right school? Oh my God, I really just, this is so much work. So you have to say, is this right for me? You know, it can be a combination of a lot of different complex things that go into this. But then that leads back to self-assessment again, okay? If it's not what you need, then you have to reassess and then again, explore the options. All of this is you're going to do this several times in your lifetime, this whole career cycle. And just because you're students of science, I thought I'd show you the scientific method, because this is basically what you're doing with career evolution. You know, you think, okay, I think I know what I want. And then you try something out. If it doesn't work, you go back to the original hypothesis and rethink it. And again, it's cyclical, right? So what can I do with my degree? So I'm going to say that a more meaningful question here is, what are my skills, my interests, my personality, and how do all of those things translate into a meaningful career path? It's not just your degree. You are complex individuals with many outside interests. Many of you work, many of you volunteer, maybe you're part of a community or a club. Maybe, maybe you're an accomplished musician or a competitive athlete. So all of those things are the constituency of you. It's not just your degree. That's only one part of who you are. And so it's often the things that are outside of that hardcore class skill sets that are going to get you hired. But also, when you're thinking about your career, you need to think of all of the things in your life. You know, what do you need to make time for? Do you need to make time for education? Do you need to make time for family? Are you bent on having a giant house in the middle of Toronto? You know, do you want prestige? You know, think about all of those things that make up your life and enrich your life, because they're going to all tuck into your career, and you need to think about yourself holistically. As you're thinking about your career, what works with you and fits into all of those sorts of things. So as I mentioned, in your classes, you're gaining many, many concrete lab skills, programming skills, lab skills, software skills, presentation skills, and the knowledge base that you're gathering through all of your courses. However, there is a growing and ever growing school of thought that those are not the only things that are important to success in your career. Instead, the thinking is that these are the types of things that are going to get you employed and keep you employed, okay? And all of these things are really, really critical things for you to get across in your resume and your cover letter. These are the things that employers want to know, or graduate supervisors want to know. And I just want to give you one example of this. So in healthcare, for instance, the Royal College of Physicians and Surgeons of Canada in the 90s was responding to growing literature that said, yes, our clinicians are competent, but being a successful clinician is way more than that, okay? And they came up with this model of competencies that, yes, we need our physicians to be medical experts, but they're also communicators, professionals, collaborators, managers, leaders, health advocates. They're all of those things, and they need to be all of those things to have a successful career as a physician. And there are a lot of models of competencies in different professional areas. And it's really recognizing the fact that there's way more than just mad, crazy skill sets that you're learning in class that will make you successful in your career. So I had prepared a poll, but for some reason the poll didn't transfer to this particular Zoom meeting. So I'm sorry about that. So I'm going to say, let's just switch back and forth. This is a truth or myth. I should be clear about my career direction at this age. And if you just put yourself on gallery view, okay, I should be clear about my career direction at this age. Thumbs up if you think that's true. How many think it's false? Okay, seeing. Oh yeah, okay, there we go. Sorry, I didn't get the poll. I just realized that like the minute before class started, and I knew I didn't have time to do that. Okay, so let's go back to our slide deck here. Where did my slide deck go? There it is. Okay. All right, so in truth, in fact, the reality is that career interests don't settle until mid to late 20s, okay? And that 80% of students, and this should be reassuring for many, many of you, 80% of students change their major at least once. I have had these conversations with students who come in and say, oh my God, I just realized I should be in environmental science. Chanel, did you have a question? I just see your hand up there. Oh, no, maybe. Okay. You were trying for thumbs up, I'm guessing. Okay. All right. So it is normal for you not to know what you're doing now. Completely normal. Okay. Just let that sink in. Do not stress that you don't know what's next for you. A few students do, but most don't. Okay. Next, career truth or myth. If you put yourself on gallery, there's one career path for me. I'm going to finish high school, graduate from university, get a great career, and retire. So thumbs up if you think that's true. How about false? Okay, I'm seeing a lot more falses. Okay, this actually might be true for a few of you, but I'm going to say it's really very few. And in fact, the reality is that the majority of workers will have a minimum of 8 jobs in 3 fields over their working lives, okay? So when I saw this stat, I thought to myself, oh, I wonder where I fit into this. And that's why I wanted to save just telling you a little bit about myself and my professional background until now. So 8 jobs, 3 fields, keep that in mind. So when I was in high school, I was really good at music. I was really good at theater. I was really good at science. So what did I do? I don't know. I had no idea. I had no one to tell me. I wasn't terribly self-reflective. And so as much to annoy my parents as anything, I went into music. So I completed a music theater program at Sheridan. And yet, if I had thought about the bigger picture of me, I would have realized that moving from place to place, always proving yourself, the stress of not having a home base was never something that was ever going to work for me. I realized that too late. So I went back to my other love, which was science. Got my Bachelor of Science. Check. All right. So my first main area of professional world was in research. And so I started at University of Guelph, Ministry of Community Social Services, and then I came to McMaster, and I spent 17 years in health sciences research at McMaster, okay? Learned a ton. But then by that time I'd had my daughter, and I was volunteering in her classroom, and I became very interested in education. And so I actually applied to go back to school to do my teaching degree, was accepted, but then serendipitously, I got this offer from the College of Family Physicians of Canada to spearhead a program in healthcare communication, which for me was the best decision I ever made in my life, because this work was transformative. And I ended up working as a director with the Institute for Healthcare Communication directly. However, I really loved the part that was coaching and mentorship in that work. And so I wanted to explore that further. I wanted to get better. I wanted to hone my skills. And so that led me back to McMaster, okay? So if you count here, 3 main fields, 8 jobs. I fit that mold perfectly, except that when you add in my music and theater days, I'm way past that statistic. So it's just completely normal to explore different career paths and to reinvent yourself. And I still am learning, and I'm currently doing my Master's of Education. So I'm full circle back to education. So our last truth or myth, there are limited career opportunities for someone with an undergraduate degree in science. Who thinks that's true? Thumbs up if you think that's true. Oops. Is it false? Who thinks it's false? I'm clicking on too many things here. Yeah, so most people think it's false. You know, and the thing is, this is what you really need to start thinking about. If you're in math and stats, you're probably going to end up working in a bank or in insurance. There's sort of, or somewhere in data science. So there are clearer pathways for people with a math degree. But then when you look at something like physical and life sciences, look at all the different careers that these people with degrees in physical and life sciences have. The majority are teachers, sales and service, in business. So it's all about, as I said before, thinking about yourself holistically. You're way more than your degree, okay? So think about all those bits and pieces and what makes you uniquely you. And those are the things you're going to bring to the table. And so when you see a job application and you look at the qualifications needed, don't just think about your formal education, think of everything. And you never know where that could take you. So just a quick slide on feeling ready for the professional world. And I'll draw your attention on Avenue to the fact that we are piloting something we're called professional readiness score. And you can see the rubric that we're using now. For those of you who join us this afternoon, you can learn a little bit more about it. This is really just a pilot study. It won't impact your participation here or your mark here. We're just curious to know how it lines up with the types of students that we see going into these types of opportunities. So I know we're a little bit past our time, and I do apologize for that. I know you're busy people and you've got lots to do. So let me just stop for a moment and see what questions you have for me. So questions. You can put up your hand or you can put them in the chat. Oh, Isha. Do I have that right, Isha? Okay.
Catherine, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good too, thanks. I just had a quick question about the event this afternoon. I'm having a little bit of trouble navigating Oscar Plus. Would you be able to walk me through that and how to register?
Oh, thank you for asking that. Oscar Plus is the bane of most of our existences, let's face it. It's very helpful when it's working and it's just not. So if you go to science, click on science first, then events, and look at, and you'll see an events calendar. You'll see an event for this afternoon and there's a place to register. It's at 2:30.
Great, thank you so much.
Okay, Adrian says, you don't have access to Oscar Plus Sciences. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you must be in health sciences or something and you're applying to co-op. Okay, Adrian, let me just write that down. De Jesus. Okay, I will definitely send you that. Quiz one. Quiz one, the answer is skills that match the employer needs. Other questions? Other questions that you have? I know this is a really quick overview. We're going to get into the meat next week. I'm really looking forward to meeting you, hopefully in person very, very soon. In the meantime, please be in touch with Laura or myself. As I said, also go on Oscar Plus to book your resume review with Laura. Appointments will be available till March 18th. And after that, there are no more appointments. So book in with Laura now. She's very popular. So if you want the last appointment on the last day, maybe, I don't think we've set them up that far. I think we've set them up till February 7th. Is that right, Laura?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, just because we don't know where we are. Laura will be in person some days when we go back full time into the office. But we can be flexible. We can do them online or in person, but we're trying to play it by ear. Other questions? Looks like okay, book a career appointment. Is this what I need to do to book a resume appointment? Yes, you book a career appointment and then it's going to say appointment type, Muhammad, and just make sure you put you choose 2 COO. Otherwise you'll get me or my colleague Umar, and you don't want that. You want Laura. Okay. Where on Oscar Plus can we register for a resume review? Right, so hopefully I've answered that, but go to science, appointments, book a career appointment, and you will see that as one of your selections. Anyway, lovely to have all of you join me today. I hope the weekend goes well. I'm not used to doing this on Friday. Yeah, it's a weekend. So happy weekend to everybody. And I hope I haven't frightened anyone away and that you will come back next week. So see you then. Okay, bye.